That's the raw emotion of a fan base that knows when it's been cheated. For days, you've seen the clips, you've seen the outrage, and you know in your gut that what happened to the Indiana Fever in Game 5 wasn't just a loss, it was a heist. But while other channels are stuck showing you what happened, they missed the real story. They're showing you the crime scene, but they never ask the most important question. Who ordered the hit? Today, we are filtering out the noise and exposing the motive. This wasn't just a case of bad officiating. This was a calculated business decision. We're connecting the dots to reveal the WNBA's unspoken blueprint, a quiet league-level agenda to protect their biggest financial asset, the Las Vegas Aces' Dynasty narrative, even if it meant rigging a playoff game in front of the entire world. Lexie Hull's heartbroken comments weren't just about a loss. They were the first public crack in one of the biggest league-officiated scandals in recent memory. We are a community of narrative analysts here, and our job is to uncover the story behind the story. So if you believe in digging deeper than the headlines, do me a favor and hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that the truth still matters, and it fuels our ability to conduct these investigations. All right, let's quickly reconstruct the crime scene, because to understand the motive, you have to appreciate the sheer audacity of the execution. Game 5, winner goes to the WNBA Finals. The Indiana Fever, a team decimated by 6 season-ending injuries, a team running on hard and hardship contracts, had pushed the reigning 2-time champions to the absolute brink. And then, the blueprint was activated. With just 26 seconds left in a tie game, Aliyah Boston, the Fever's all-star center, gets into a routine battle for a rebound. A whistle blows, a phantom foul is called, her 6th. Despite a desperate challenge from the coach, the call stood. Boston was out. The Aces were given the lead from the free throw line. It was the most critical moment of the game, and a single whistle decided it. But that was just the final nail. The entire game was a masterclass in narrative control. The Fever's leading scorer, Kelsey Mitchell, was so physically pummeled by uncalled fouls that her body literally began to break down, forcing her to be hospitalized with a terrifying condition called rhabdomyolysis. All series long, the free throw numbers told the story, with a massive disparity that consistently killed Indiana's momentum and rewarded the Aces. Now, for any narrative analyst watching, a pattern that blatant begs the question, why? Why would the league risk its credibility with officiating this one-sided in a pivotal playoff game? And the answer isn't incompetence, the answer is business. To understand what happened, you have to stop thinking about this as a basketball game and start thinking about it as the protection of a multi-million-dollar asset. The Aces Dynasty. Let's be clear. In the world of professional sports, dynasties are currency. A dominant, recognizable team, whether you love them or hate them, is a reliable storyline that sells tickets, drives ratings, and simplifies marketing for a national audience. The Las Vegas Aces, winners of back-to-back championships in 2022 and 2023, were on the verge of becoming only the second team in over 2 decades to win consecutive titles. They weren't just a team, they were the league's poster team, their dominant narrative heading into the finals. And in the high-stakes game of sports entertainment, you protect your assets. Okay, now we're entering the territory of connecting dots the league hopes you'll never see. Many of you watching have been piecing this together on social media, and you were onto something huge. The idea that a single game could be manipulated seems shocking, but what if I told you that Game 5 wasn't an isolated incident? What if it was just the most visible symptom of a league-wide disease that coaches had been trying to warn us about all season? This is where we have to talk about the 2025 WNBA officiating crisis. Just days before the Fever were robbed, Minnesota Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve did the unthinkable. After a loss she felt was dictated by bad calls, she went to the podium and dropped a nuclear bomb on the league office. She called the officiating awful and labeled the league's decision to assign that crew to a playoff game malpractice. She didn't just criticize a few calls, she attacked the entire system, and for her honesty, she was suspended for a critical Game 4. The league wanted to make an example of her. They wanted to silence her. But something incredible happened instead. The other coaches refused to let her stand alone. Indiana's own Stephanie White and more importantly, Las Vegas coach Becky Hammon were both fined $1,000 for publicly supporting Reeve's comments. Let that sink in. The coach of the very team benefiting from the alleged bias was also writing a check to the league for agreeing that the officiating was in a crisis state. This is the kind of detail that blows the entire conspiracy wide open. When the coach of the team getting all the calls is also complaining about the quality of the officiating, what does that tell you? Is this the ultimate proof that the system is broken beyond repair? Let us know your theory in the comments below. This sequence of events reveals the WNBA's playbook. Step 1, a coach or player exposes a problem. Step 2, the league, instead of addressing the problem, punishes the truth teller with fines or suspensions. Step 3, the narrative is controlled, and the problem officially goes away. They're not fixing the rot in the foundation. They're just painting over the cracks. Cheryl Reeve's suspension was a warning shot to every other coach in the league. Shut up, or you're next. And it's in that environment of intimidation and silence that the heist of Game 5 was even possible. The league had already proven it would rather get rid of a critical coach than a bad referee. So if the entire system is this flawed, and the coaches are being actively silenced for speaking out, it begs the next logical question. Who is at the top enforcing this code of silence? Who is the architect of this entire blueprint? That architect has a name, WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. When a league is in a full-blown crisis, with its most respected coaches openly questioning its integrity, leadership has two choices. You can either acknowledge the crisis and fix it, or you can deny it and punish anyone who speaks up. Engelbert chose denial. Faced with a tidal wave of criticism from coaches, players, and fans, the commissioner's official response was to defend the system. She stated that every play is scrutinized, a hollow corporate phrase that's meant to sound reassuring while saying absolutely nothing. It was a calculated decision. Acknowledging the problem would mean admitting the league is flawed, which could tarnish the image of her prized Aces dynasty on their way to the finals. So, she chose to protect the narrative over the truth. The fines handed out to Stephanie White and Becky Hammon weren't just punishments, they were messages sent directly from the commissioner's office. Fall in line, or we will make you pay. This is the environment of fear and silence that Engelbert fostered. And it's the very environment that forced Lexie Hull to break her silence in the only way she could, in code. Let's go back to Hull's post-game press conference. On the surface, her words sound like heartbreaking resignation. She said, "We've been here before, so it's just so unlucky, so crazy, that had to happen tonight. Many hear that and just hear a player who is sad. But as narrative analysts, our job is to listen to what is not being said." Hull is a professional. She saw what the league did to Cheryl Reeve for telling the unfiltered truth. She knew she couldn't walk up to that microphone and say the words corrupt, biased, or rigged without facing a career-altering fine. So, she chose her words with surgical precision. Unlucky. Crazy. These are the words you use when you are contractually forbidden from using the word cheated. It was a coded message sent out to a fan base she knew was watching, a fan base that could read between the lines and understand what she was really saying. This was not a fair fight. This is the impossible situation the league, under Engelbert's leadership, puts its own players in. They have to stand there, fresh off the court after having their season stolen from them, and either lie to the world and say it was a fair game, or risk their paycheck to tell the truth. Hull's statement wasn't a moment of weakness, it was an act of quiet defiance. She exposed the truth by showing us the very limits the league places on it. This is how the blueprint works. The commissioner creates a system that protects the desired outcome. And that system is so intimidating that its victims are forced to speak about their own robbery in whispers. But the league made a critical miscalculation. They believed that by controlling the outcome of one game, they could control the future of the league. They thought they could crown their champions and everyone would simply move on. But they forgot one crucial variable in their equation. What happens when you don't just beat a team, but you galvanize them with injustice? What happens when you cheat a team so blatantly that you don't just break their hearts? You forge their anger into a weapon. The answer to that question is the ultimate irony in this entire scandal. The WNBA's Dynasty blueprint was supposed to be a safe bet. It was designed to secure a marketable star-dominant champion and create a simple story for the league to sell. But in executing their plan, they created a force of nature they will never be able to control. The Indiana Fever walked out of that arena not as a defeated victim, but as a team forged in the fires of injustice, with a legitimate vendetta against the league that wronged them. The proof of this transformation is already public. Just days after the loss, Fever guard Sophie Cunningham posted a message to the entire league on social media, a promise that has become the team's new rallying cry. We are coming for everybody next season. That is not the language of a team hoping to compete. It is the language of a team coming to collect a debt. With their core of a healthy Caitlin Clark, Aliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexie Hull all set to return, the Fever aren't just a feel-good story anymore. They are the league's new antagonists, a powerhouse fueled by the one thing that never fades, righteous anger. The league didn't just rig a game. They created a monster. Lexie Hull's quiet-coded message of injustice wasn't an ending. It was a warning. So what's your take on all this? Did the WNBA make the biggest mistake in its history? By manipulating one game to protect their dynasty, did they accidentally create the very rival that is now coming back to burn that dynasty to the ground? Let us know your final verdict in the comments below. Was this a calculated risk or a fatal mistake for the league? We will be tracking the fallout from this officiating crisis and the Fever's road to revenge all offseason. If you want to stay ahead of the official narrative, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell. We are committed to bringing you the story behind the story every single time. Finally, thousands of fans only saw the final score of Game 5. They don't know about the blueprint, the silenced coaches, or the real story of what was taken from this team. Be the one to show them the truth. Share this video and help expose the real reason the game was rigged.